All right, let's get right into it. What if I told you that the best tool for getting a handle on your money isn't some fancy new app, but actually a simple, time-tested idea from Japan, all the way back in 1904? We're going to explore how a basic pen and notebook can give you way more financial control than any piece of tech you can download today.
You know the feeling, right? It's late at night, you open your banking app, and you get that little pit in your stomach when the number is just lower than you thought it would be. You know what you earn, you kind of know your big bills, but all the little details, the actual story of where your cash disappears to, it's a total mystery. And that right there is where the stress comes from.
So what do? We do what everyone does. We download a budgeting app. We link all our accounts, we feel super organized and on top of things for, a week, maybe two? And then we just stop opening it. It gets buried in some folder on our phone, just sitting there silently judging us.
And here's the thing, it's not just you. Look at these numbers. They're pretty wild. After only 1 month, more than 90% of people have quit using these apps. And after a year, the number's still tiny. This isn't about you failing, it's about the tool itself just not working for most people.
So if the shiny, modern, automated way isn't cutting it, what's the alternative? Well, we're going to have to look backward. We're going back in time to an idea that's over a century old. But somehow, it's proving to be more effective than anything in the App Store. The real solution is way simpler and honestly, way more powerful than you'd think.
And that brings us to Kakeibo. It literally just means household account book. It was created way back in 1904 by Hani Motoko, and she wasn't some banker or economist. She was Japan's very first female journalist. She designed Kakeibo as a tool to empower people, especially women managing households, giving them a really practical system to finally understand and control their own money.
This quote from Hani Motoko really gets to the heart of it all. It's been printed in every Kakeibo since 1904, and you know what? It might be more true today than it was back then. Think about it. We live in a world of one-tap payments and automatic debits. Our money is practically invisible. The whole system is designed to make spending forgettable. Kakeibo is just a tool to force us to see clearly again.
So, why does this old-school habit work so well? I promise you, it's not just about being nostalgic for the good old days. It's about how your brain is wired. This method, which looks kind of quaint on the surface, is actually backed by some serious science that explains why physically writing things down is so much more powerful than just tracking it digitally.
Just look at this breakdown. Budgeting apps are all about being frictionless. They sync automatically, they guess your categories, they spit out a report. But here's the catch. Just reading a report doesn't change your behavior. Kakeibo, on the other hand, adds friction back into the process on purpose. It makes you actively engage. It's manual. And that turns tracking your money from a passive chore into a conscious ritual. You're not just logging a purchase, you're actually processing it. That's the difference.
Let's get into the science for a second, because this is cool. 3 big things make this work. First, brain scans show that handwriting literally lights up the memory-forming parts of your brain way more than typing does. Second, there's a psychological principle called the generation effect. Basically, you remember stuff you create yourself way better than stuff you just read. And third, studies show that just the act of writing down your goals can literally double your chances of achieving them. Kakeibo uses all 3 of these principles at once.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the why. Now let's get to the how. The actual Kakeibo method is super straightforward, and that's by design. It's just a quick setup at the start of the month and then a couple of minutes each day to track. Let's walk through it.
So at the beginning of every month, you do these 4 simple things. 1, write down your total income. 2, subtract all your fixed costs, rent, bills, loan payments. 3, and this is the most important part, the real secret sauce. You decide how much you want to save, and you subtract that amount right away. You pay yourself first. And then 4, whatever is left over is your spending money for the month, which you can divide by 4 to get a weekly target. Then, every day, as you spend money, you just write each purchase down in one of 4 categories. Needs are for survival stuff, like groceries and rent. Wants are the fun, optional things, like going out to eat or hobbies. Unexpected is for, the unexpected, like a car repair. And then there's culture. This is what makes Kakeibo so unique. It's for personal growth. Books, museums, courses. It treats self-improvement not as just another want, but as something important that deserves its own space.
Now, doing this every day isn't just about the numbers adding up. It's all leading to something much bigger, real, actual peace of mind. Let's talk about what happens in your head when you finally hit that first big savings goal. It's a total game changer.
So, what is the price of peace of mind? A lot of financial experts talk about a number like, say, 50,000 rupees as being the first real psychological turning point. When you hit a milestone like that, it's not about being able to go buy a bunch of expensive stuff. Actually, most people who get there don't really change their spending habits at all. The transformation is way deeper than that.
Having a savings buffer like this changes everything. We're talking scientifically proven stress reduction. It actually lowers your body's stress hormone, cortisol. It frees up so much mental space because you're not constantly worried about every little expense. That check engine light in your car goes from being a potential disaster to just an annoyance you can handle. And maybe most importantly, that safety net gives you the confidence to take smart risks, like asking for a raise or starting a new project.
And that really brings us back to the main idea here. A lot of budgeting feels like restriction, like being told no. It makes you feel like you can't be trusted with your own money. Kakebo's whole philosophy is the complete opposite. It doesn't tell you to stop spending, it just asks you to pay attention. One feels like a punishment, the other feels like freedom. At the end of the day, it all boils down to this. Awareness is the very first step to being in control. An app can track what you spend, sure, but it can't make you aware of it. The simple physical act of writing it down forces you to look your habits in the eye, see the patterns, and finally understand the real story of where your money is going.
So, the most powerful tool for your financial future? It's not in the App Store. It's probably sitting in a drawer in your house right now. Just a simple notebook and a pen. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to start paying attention. The only question left is, what are you going to choose to pay attention to?